In a quiet, sun-dappled suburb bordering a thriving wildlife reserve, life moved with a gentle, measured rhythm. Here, where the rustle of leaves mingled with distant bird calls, lived Bailey, a warm-hearted, aging dog whose world had long been shrouded in darkness. Though his once bright eyes had faded into a gentle twilight, Bailey's other senses, his keen ears, sensitive nose, and tender heart, had blossomed to guide him through each day. Every morning, as soft rays of sunlight crept through the window of his cozy home, Bailey would stir from his comfortable bed with a slow, deliberate stretch. He relied on the familiar sounds of the household, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the comforting cadence of family footsteps in the hall, to orient himself in space. His world was a tapestry woven from scents and sounds, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee in the kitchen, the rustle of leaves outside, and the distant laughter of children playing. Although Bailey could not see the vibrant hues of a blooming garden or the shifting blues of the sky, he painted his own vivid picture of the world through the symphony of these everyday sensations. Stepping outside, Bailey ventured along the familiar paths of his neighborhood. Each step was measured and cautious, yet filled with quiet dignity. The cool, dewy grass beneath his paws, the soft murmur of the wind in the trees, and the subtle changes in the scent of the air as seasons shifted, all these details shaped his understanding of the space around him. In his heart, Bailey carried memories of sight, a long-ago vision of radiant sunsets and twinkling stars, but now he trusted completely in the other senses that had become his true guide. Though life was peaceful, Bailey sometimes felt the weight of solitude. The bustling world around him, though full of sounds and fragrances, was often filled with vibrant images that he could only imagine. In quiet moments, he would sit on his favorite spot by the porch, his ears attuned to the gentle rustling of the nearby eucalyptus trees and his nose catching the earthy scent of the garden. It was in these moments that Bailey's thoughts wandered to the possibility of companionship, a friend who might share his silent journey, understand his unique perspective, and offer comfort in the unspoken language of presence. Little did Bailey know that on a bright, dew-laden morning, destiny was quietly preparing to weave an unexpected thread into his life. As he set off on his daily walk, guided by the familiar sounds of chirping sparrows and the distant murmur of a flowing creek, a gentle, unfamiliar rustle in the branches of a nearby gum tree captured his attention. The sound was soft and unassuming, a delicate whisper in the breeze, but it carried a hint of profound serenity and gentle curiosity. In that moment, Bailey paused, his ears perking up as he turned his head toward the source of the sound. Though he could not see the creature hidden high in the branches, his heart sensed the presence of something kindred, a soul that, like him, navigated life with quiet resilience. And so, with cautious steps and an ever-willing spirit, Bailey followed the enchanting sound, not knowing that this simple act of curiosity would lead him to an encounter that would forever change his world. Thus began the first chapter of an extraordinary tale, a story of a blind dog who, in a world beyond sight, would soon find solace and companionship in the most unlikely of friends. In the interplay of sound, scent, and gentle intuition, Bailey's journey was about to take a turn toward hope, reminding all who listened that even when the eyes cannot see, the heart perceives beauty in ways that words cannot fully capture. As the first light of a cool, crisp morning spread its gentle glow over the neighborhood, Bailey set out on his familiar route, his ears attuned to every subtle sound and his heart open to the world of scents around him. Today, however, a different melody played on the breeze, a soft, rustling sound from above that carried an air of quiet mystery. Following the delicate murmur, Bailey padded slowly toward a cluster of gum trees that marked the edge of the park. The air was filled with the mingling aromas of dew-soaked earth and eucalyptus, and every sound, from the distant chirp of sparrows to the rustle of leaves in the tender wind, seemed to form a symphony for his heightened senses. As he neared the trees, the mysterious rustling grew more distinct, like a gentle whisper, inviting him to listen closer. High in the branches, nestled comfortably amid the foliage, was a creature whose presence was both unexpected and enchanting. Although Bailey could not see, his other senses filled in the picture. He detected the soft, almost musical sound of leaves shifting in a faint, warm, and slightly musty aroma that was distinctly different from the familiar scent of the trees. There, in the quiet sanctuary of the gum tree, was a koala, a being whose peaceful, deliberate breathing and subtle, contented hum conveyed an aura of serene wisdom. For a moment, time seemed to suspend as Bailey and Coco became aware of each other's presence. Bailey's ears twitched, picking up the slow, measured cadence of the koala's movements. In turn, Coco, with his gentle disposition, seemed to sense Bailey's approach, a calm, welcoming energy that contrasted with the bustle of the outside world. Though their lives had followed very different rhythms, one defined by a silent world beyond sight and the other by a languid, tree-bound existence, their meeting was marked by an unmistakable spark of understanding. Bailey moved closer, each step careful and measured, as he approached the base of the tree. He settled down on the soft grass, his head tilted in curiosity as he listened intently to Coco's slow, rhythmic breathing. The koala, content in his high perch, shifted slightly, causing a cascade of leaves to drift softly to the ground. This quiet rustle, mingled with the gentle chirping of early birds, formed the language of their first encounter, a language that transcended the need for words. Their initial moments were filled with a series of subtle exchanges. Bailey's tail thumped softly on the ground in a slow, friendly rhythm, a vibration of welcome that resonated through the air. Coco responded with a low, comforting murmur, as if affirming that his heart, too, was open to this unusual friendship. Though separated by height and circumstance, the two souls communicated in the pure, unspoken language of trust and gentle curiosity. As the morning unfolded, Bailey remained near the tree, drawn into the quiet company of his newfound friend. The world around them seemed to soften, a gentle harmony of rustling leaves, distant water from a bubbling stream, and the soft cooing of morning birds provided the backdrop to their encounter. In that space, Bailey's senses created a vivid tapestry of textures and sounds that painted a picture of serene companionship. Coco, too, appeared intrigued by the steady, sincere presence of Bailey. While he usually spent his days in a quiet state of repose among the treetops, today he seemed to linger a little longer, allowing the soft vibrations of Bailey's friendly bark and the rhythmic sound of his paws on the grass to fill the quiet air. The koala's slow blink, a gesture of relaxation and contentment, spoke of a silent greeting, an acknowledgement that despite the differences in their worlds, a bridge of connection was being built. Thus, on that cool, dewy morning, the most unusual encounter unfolded, a meeting of two gentle souls from entirely different realms. In the interplay of soft rustles, subtle scents, and quiet, measured sounds, Bailey the blind dog and Coco the koala began to forge a bond that would grow into an unlikely friendship. This moment marked not only the start of their shared journey but also a reminder that sometimes, the most profound connections come from the most unexpected places, where hearts meet in the gentle language of empathy and silent understanding. In the days that followed their first quiet encounter, Bailey and Coco began to find a gentle rhythm in each other's company. Each morning, as soft light filtered through the leaves and dew sparkled on the grass, Bailey set out on his familiar route, yet he now found himself drawn to the base of the gum trees where Coco resided. The air, filled with the earthy aroma of damp soil and eucalyptus, served as a comforting backdrop to their slow, evolving friendship. At first, their meetings were cautious and measured. Bailey would approach the tree with a steady, deliberate gait, his ears attuned to the quiet rustle of leaves that signaled Coco's awakening. Coco, high in his arboreal haven, would shift slightly, subtle sounds that Bailey learned to recognize as friendly signals. Their communication was not verbal but woven through the language of gentle sounds and tender gestures, the soft thump of Bailey's tail against the earth, the subtle creak of a branch as Coco adjusted his position, and the quiet harmony of morning birds singing in the background. One bright morning, as a gentle breeze stirred the branches overhead, Bailey settled down on the cool grass beneath the tree. There, he listened intently as Coco, feeling reassured by the familiar presence below, allowed himself to climb down a little closer. Their proximity created a new intimacy in this shared space, one where differences melted away in favor of mutual curiosity. Bailey's nose twitched as he caught a new, comforting scent in Coco's fur, and Coco responded with a soft, almost imperceptible murmur that resonated with the calm assurance of acceptance. Over time, these small, recurring interactions evolved into a more tangible bond. Bailey began to wait by the tree each day, his anticipation palpable in the gentle patter of his paws on the grass. The sound became a cherished part of Coco's morning routine, and the koala started to greet Bailey's arrival with a slow, deliberate blink, a universal sign of trust in the animal kingdom. As they spent more time together, their initial wariness gave way to shared moments of contentment. Bailey would lie down in a patch of sunlight while Coco, secure in the lower branches, would keep a soft watch over him. Their bond deepened with the passage of time. Bailey, whose world had once been filled with the quiet solitude of darkness, found his days enriched by Coco's calming presence. In return, Coco, usually ensconced in the lazy rhythms of tree-bound life, found himself more curious about the world on the ground, a world that Bailey navigated with such gentle assurance. Together, they explored the borders of the park, Bailey leading Coco, who'd cautiously descend for brief moments, to listen to the distant laughter of children, feel the soft hum of the wind, and experience the rustling life of the earth. As autumn approached, bringing with it a tapestry of falling leaves and cooler air. The park transformed into a living gallery of warm hues. During these long, mellow afternoons, Bailey and Coco's friendship blossomed further. Neighbors began to notice the unusual pair, the blind dog and the gentle koala, side by side, sharing quiet moments beneath the rustling canopy. Their silent camaraderie became a subtle beacon of hope and understanding, a reminder that the most extraordinary connections could be formed without words, solely through the language of presence, trust, and empathy. In this season of change, every shared moment, every delicate exchange between Bailey's soft barks and Coco's slow, reassuring hum, wove their hearts together in a tapestry of unlikely but enduring friendship. Each day, as they reunited in their favorite corner of the park, they rewrote the story of their lives, proving that even the most different souls could find solace and joy in each other's company. Their blossoming bond stood as a gentle testament to the power of kindness, a light that shone through the quiet mornings and carried them, hand in paw, into a future filled with shared wonder and hope. As the long, cool night melted into the gentle embrace of dawn, a new day emerged over the park, a day that promised renewal, warmth, and the continued blossoming of an unlikely friendship. The first rays of sunlight filtered softly through the canopy of the towering gum trees, their light dancing delicately on the dew-kissed grass. In this early light, every detail of the park seemed touched by magic, transforming the familiar surroundings into a sanctuary of hope and possibility. Bailey, the blind dog, had awakened with a peaceful contentment that was new to him. Though darkness had once defined his world, he now perceived the day through a rich tapestry of sounds, scents, and subtle vibrations. The rustle of leaves in the morning breeze, the distant chirps of birds greeting the day, and even the gentle hum of the waking park all combined to create a symphony that spoke of life's quiet beauty. His sensitive ears captured the melodic whispers of nature with a clarity that, in many ways, made him feel as though he were seeing the world anew. At the same time, Coco, the gentle koala, roused from his tranquil slumber among the lower branches of the gum tree. Usually ensconced in a state of serene inertia, Coco now exhibited a spark of curiosity that seemed to mirror Bailey's own inner light. With deliberate, measured movements, Coco descended a little further from his leafy perch, each slow step a graceful dance of trust and invitation. His soft, fuzzy coat, warmed by the early sun, exuded a gentle, reassuring aroma that blended harmoniously with the earthy scent of the park. Their daily reunion had become a cherished ritual. Today, as Bailey padded eagerly toward his familiar meeting spot beneath the tree, his tail wagged with a buoyant rhythm that resonated like a heartbeat of hope. He settled himself on the cool, dew-laden grass and waited, his ears perked for the familiar, soothing sounds of his friend. Moments later, Coco emerged, moving with an unhurried grace, and joined Bailey at the base of the tree. Their meeting was wordless, a silent communion of souls that transcended the need for visual cues. Instead, it was their combined presence, the soft sounds of their breathing and the quiet murmur of the park, that spoke volumes about trust, companionship, and resilience. As the morning matured, neighbors who often passed by paused to witness this extraordinary scene, a blind dog and a koala sharing a tender moment of connection in the open air. Children giggled with delight, and adults smiled, their hearts warmed by the sight of two very different creatures finding solace in one another. The park, too, seemed to celebrate, every rustling leaf and chirping bird contributed to the symphony of life that embraced the duo. In the quiet aftermath of their reunion, Bailey and Coco began to wander together along the winding paths. Bailey's steps, guided by the soft vibrations of the earth, and Coco's measured ambles created a rhythm that seemed to echo the very heartbeat of nature. Every step they took was a reaffirmation of the belief that friendship could transcend the boundaries of species and circumstance. Their shared journey under the golden morning light was not just a new day, it was the beginning of a promise that, no matter how different their worlds might be, they would always share in the light, warmth, and enduring power of compassion. Thus, in the glow of that new dawn, Bailey and Coco stepped forward into a future defined not by what they could see, but by what their hearts and spirits could feel, the future illuminated by the shared light of an unexpected, extraordinary friendship.